Time has fascinated humanity for centuries, shaping our understanding of existence and progress. Ancient civilizations tracked the stars and seasons, weaving myths to explain the passage of days and years. Medieval scholars debated whether time was an absolute force or a construct of the mind. With the advent of clocks and calendars, time became measurable, regimenting daily life. Yet even today, physicists and philosophers grapple with its true nature: a river, a dimension, or perhaps an illusion altogether. Picture this. It's 46 BC, and Julius Caesar is about to commit an act so audacious that it will literally steal days from the lives of every Roman citizen. With a stroke of his pen, Caesar doesn't just reform the calendar. He erases 2 entire months from existence, catapulting Rome from October directly into January. Citizens go to bed on one date and wake up weeks later, their lived experience suddenly out of sync with official time. This wasn't just administrative reform, it was temporal tyranny. And it reveals something profound. Time, as we experience it, has always been as much a human invention as a natural phenomenon. As a historian who has spent decades wrestling with chronologies, dating systems, and the slippery nature of when things happened, I can tell you that time is perhaps the most deceptive concept we take for granted. We treat it as absolute, universal, ticking away uniformly everywhere. But history tells a far stranger story. The great time wars of antiquity. Long before Einstein shattered our illusions about time's constancy, ancient civilizations were already fighting bitter wars over its very definition. The Babylonians gave us the 60-minute hour, but the Egyptians insisted on dividing daylight into 12 equal parts, meaning their hours stretched and shrank with the seasons. Imagine the confusion when these trading partners tried to coordinate meetings. The Romans initially used a calendar so catastrophically inaccurate that their harvest festivals regularly occurred in spring. By the time Caesar seized control, the calendar had drifted 3 months out of alignment with the seasons. His solution was radical. The year 46 BC would contain 445 days, earning it the nickname, the Year of Confusion. Romans literally lost track of what day it was. But here's what's truly unsettling. Caesar's reform worked because he had the power to make it work. Time, it turns out, belongs to whoever can enforce it. The medieval clock revolution that changed everything. Fast forward to medieval Europe, where a revolution was brewing in monastery towers. Around 1300, mechanical clocks began appearing on cathedral spires, and with them came a fundamental shift in human consciousness. For the first time in history, people could know the exact hour without consulting the sun, moon, or stars. This wasn't just technological progress, it was temporal colonization. The church bells that had once called the faithful to prayer now commanded merchants to open their shops, workers to begin their shifts, and entire populations to synchronize their lives to an artificial rhythm. The historian Jacques Le Goff called this the victory of merchants' time over the church's time, but it was really the victory of mechanical time over human time. Consider the psychological upheaval. For millennia, humans had lived by what anthropologists call task time. You worked until the work was done, ate when hungry, slept when tired. Suddenly, abstract numbers on a clock face began dictating when to start, stop, eat, and rest. We literally learned to ignore our bodies and follow the machine. The Great Calendar Wars, when time became political. The Protestant Reformation sparked something historians rarely discuss: temporal warfare. When Pope Gregory XIII reformed the calendar in 1582, eliminating 10 days to correct accumulated errors, Protestant nations refused to comply. This wasn't theological stubbornness, it was temporal sovereignty. The result was chronological chaos. For 170 years, Catholic and Protestant Europe literally existed in different times. A merchant traveling from Catholic France to Protestant England would lose 10 days crossing the border, then gain them back on the return journey. Treaties had to specify whether dates were New Style or Old Style. The Battle of the Boyne, celebrated by Irish Protestants as occurring on July 12th, actually took place on July 1st in the calendar they were using at the time. Russia held out until 1918, meaning the October Revolution actually occurred in November by the rest of the world's reckoning. Time had become a battlefield where nations planted flags. The Railway Revolution, when time became money. But the most dramatic temporal conquest occurred in 19th century America, where railroads faced a crisis that would reshape human consciousness itself. Before the 1880s, every town kept its own time based on the sun's position. High noon in Chicago occurred 11 minutes and 45 seconds before high noon in Detroit. This worked fine when travel took days, but when trains could cross multiple time zones in hours, chaos ensued. The solution was breathtakingly audacious. On November 18, 1883, at exactly noon Eastern Time, telegraph operators across North America synchronized their clocks. Dubbed the Day of Two Noons, this moment saw some towns experience noon twice as they adjusted to the new standard time zones. Protesters called it an act of violence against natural time, but railroad money spoke louder than solar astronomy. What makes this particularly fascinating is that it was entirely corporate-driven. The US government didn't officially adopt standard time zones until 1918. For 35 years, Americans lived by railroad time, a privately imposed temporal order that gradually became so natural we forgot it was artificial. The Einstein earthquake, when time became relative. Just as humanity had settled into mechanical, standardized time, along came a patent clerk in Switzerland who would dynamite everything we thought we knew. Einstein's revelation that time itself could stretch, compress, and bend wasn't just scientific revolution. It was existential earthquake. But here's what history teaches us that physics textbooks miss. Einstein's insights, revolutionary as they were, actually returned us to something ancient civilizations intuitively understood. Time had always been relative to the observer. The Aztecs had multiple simultaneous calendar systems. Aboriginal Australians spoke of dream time that existed alongside linear time. Hindu cosmology described cycles within cycles, where past and future coexisted. Western civilization, with its obsession with linear progress and mechanical precision, had been the historical anomaly. Einstein didn't discover relativity. He rediscovered it. The digital revolution. Time as data. Today, we live in nanosecond precision, where GPS satellites must account for relativistic time dilation to maintain accuracy, where high-frequency trading algorithms execute millions of transactions in the time it takes you to blink. We've achieved temporal precision beyond anything Caesar or medieval clockmakers could imagine. Yet paradoxically, we're more temporally confused than ever. We exist simultaneously in multiple time zones through digital communication, experience temporal compression, where decades of change happen in years, and struggle with temporal fragmentation as our attention splinters across countless digital streams. Social media has created what philosophers call the eternal now, an endless present where past and future collapse into an immediate, overwhelming stream of information. We have more control over time than any civilization in history, yet feel more enslaved by it. The deepest secret of time. After decades of studying how different civilizations have understood, measured, and manipulated time, I've reached an unsettling conclusion. Time, as we commonly understand it, is humanity's most successful collective hallucination. Every calendar, every clock, every schedule is an act of shared imagination. We agree that Thursday follows Wednesday not because of cosmic law, but because we collectively choose to believe it. The year 2024 has no meaning outside human consensus. It's simply how many years we've decided have passed since an event we've agreed to use as our starting point. Yet this hallucination has become the invisible architecture of civilization itself. Everything we consider real, from financial markets to legal systems to scientific experiments, depends entirely on our shared temporal fiction. The ancient Mayans believed time was circular, constantly returning to previous states. Medieval Christians saw it as linear, progressing toward Judgment Day. Modern physicists suggest it might be an illusion entirely. Each view shaped how entire civilizations lived, worked, loved, and died. So what is time, really? Perhaps the most honest answer is that time is what we make it, literally. It's humanity's greatest collaborative artwork, painted in schedules and calendars, carved in sundials and atomic clocks, written in the rhythm of our collective heartbeat. And like all great art, it's both completely artificial and absolutely real, both our creation and our master. Understanding this paradox isn't just intellectually fascinating, it's the key to understanding how human civilization actually works. The next time you glance at your watch, remember, you're not just checking the time. You're participating in humanity's most enduring conspiracy, one that began in ancient temples and continues in server farms, one that has shaped every moment of history and will define every moment of our future. Time may be an illusion, but it's an illusion we can never escape, because we are the magicians performing the trick.